Hi, welcome back to Ritter Runs Far. I'm Dr. Nicole Ritter, your host, here to share more about my running journey. While my last video focused on starting getting running, I'm going to fast forward through my running hierarchy to my next challenge, which is an ultra marathon. Fast forwarding a little bit because this next challenge is just in less than 2 weeks. And I want to share and create this channel so that I can just share my exploits, because I do stupid stuff. I do stupid stuff like run ultra marathons that are kind of outside of my particular age demographic and profession. But I figure that maybe I can inspire somebody else to take on this next challenge and maybe learn from some of the things that I'm doing. So I'll tell you more about this next challenge, which is the Black Mountain Monster Ultra Marathon. The Black Mountain Monster Ultra Marathon is in Black Mountain, North Carolina on June 1st. Yes, ultra marathon. So first let me tell you about the difference between a regular marathon and an ultra marathon and what I'm looking forward to in this one. And I will share my goals for 2024. First, with a regular marathon. A regular marathon is 26.2 miles and it's typically on the road and it has a lot of crowd support. Marathons are good because they normally are run rain or shine, and since they're on the road, they're less affected by the weather. You know, you can have rain and it's not necessarily going to affect your finish, whether or not you finish, because you can finish despite the fact that you have rain. It's uncomfortable, but it's definitely doable. Rain is not a terrible impact on the terrain itself. There are time limits with a regular marathon, typically between 6 and 8 hours, and I've run 7 marathons, full marathons, and I haven't ever run like one of the majors like Chicago or New York, and I've never traveled outside. The Charlotte Marathon I've done many times. So those are things that are still on my radar. So regular marathon, to summarize, 26.2 miles, usually on the road, time limitations, but you're going to run rain or shine. An ultra marathon, it's ultra because it is more than 26.2 miles. The benefits, or both benefits and drawbacks of an ultra marathon, are it's run in the trail or the woods, which means that there's less crowd support. However, you have an aid station that you go to regularly. It's severely impacted by the weather because if it gets too muddy or rainy, then you risk significant injury in that mud. So they can get called early, which I have had the experience. But a nice thing about ultra marathons is there's no time limit. They can be 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours. They even go up to 72 hours. You can run as much as you can within that time period. An ultra marathon is what guys like David Goggins does, because he's a maniac. His first race was a 100 miler that he did very little training for. Actually, he says he did no training for. The Black Mountain Monster, back to this one, is a 6, 12, or 24 hour course. And this year I've chosen to do the 12 hour, but I've done all three. So the first year I did it was 2015. And in 2015, I did the 6 hour and I loved it so much that I decided that I would go back the following year and I did the 12 hour. And then the 2017, I did the 24 hour. This year, I'm doing the 12 hour, but I'll share my previous finishes. So 2015, just the 6 hour, I did 6 laps, finished with 19.25 miles. 2016, 10 laps, 32.5 miles, and then my best finish was in 2017, the 24 hour. But that was the one that was cut a little bit short because the conditions were just so crazy off the charts. I mean, running in mud that was up to my ankles. So I called it at like 3 in the morning, but I was really proud of the fact that I got nearly 40 miles. On my watch it was 40 miles, so I always say that I ran 40 miles. That's how I remember the finishes. I didn't bother to look up the finishes, but that's what I'm claiming, so that's what it was. So this year I'm running a 12 hour, and I'll share my goal with you as we get a little bit further. But first off, let me tell you about what I like about this race. The Black Mountain Monster is a fun race because the course is a 5K loop. It's on the college campus of Montreat College, and it's very diverse. You run through different scenarios throughout the entire thing. You run on pavement, you run on pine needles, you run through rooty terrain, you run up hills, down hills. It's really a fun little course, and there's not a whole lot of people that do this race. The loop, since it is a loop, there is an aid station, and it's packed with great foods for running, and I'll talk more about nutrition in a bit. My approach to running an ultra marathon, well, not my approach, because this is not how it happened, typically starts on like 6 months before you begin the race. So I should have started training for this race in January, but the reasons why I haven't run this race in 7 years is because I've always had things that have come up that made the date undoable. So usually I'm doing the AP psychology reading in the summertime. I haven't been invited to that since 2019, and then in 2020, I was finishing some schoolwork, so I wasn't able to do it. And then I don't know, my mom was sick, and life happened, and I wasn't able to do it. I realized that I might be able to do it this year when I wasn't getting the invite to the AP psychology reading, so it's been on my radar since this winter. But I didn't commit to it until March. So my training for this ultra marathon, for running an absurd amount of miles in 12 hours, has been very limited. However, I have been going to Orange Theory pretty religiously since December, and working out since December about 6 days a week. So I'm confident that I'm in pretty good shape. Typically what a person will do when training for an ultra marathon is Saturdays and Sundays are reserved for your longer runs. A person training for this can run between 10 to 30 miles between Saturday and Sunday. You might run 15 on Saturday, 15 on Sunday, because you do get breaks in between these runs, so you can kind of chunk it out. That has not been my approach this year. I'm not too concerned about the training aspect of it, because in the past, my previous runs, I didn't do any exceptional training either. But I've had 7 years of aging to consider in the 7 years since I've run this race. The biggest thing in my favor is my mindset. Like, I know that I can do this. And if I just keep after it and keep doing the loops, I believe that I can hit my goal. So since March, I've not been on any real long runs. I ran a half marathon in February, and I haven't done up to 13 miles ever since then. Maybe my max that I've run since February is 6 miles. But again, staying active in this time period, I feel pretty good. I feel actually really great. Let me share what I hope to achieve in these 12 hours. This year, my goal is to hit 50 miles. I chose 50 miles because I am 50 years old. So I turned 50 in October, and to celebrate my 50 years on this earth, I want to be able to say, hey, yeah, I did it. I ran 50 miles in 12 hours. For me, this is a lofty goal. I've never run that many miles in a sustained time period. Other runners might be able to do more, and that's their story, that's not mine, and I'm pleased with what I can do. I'm going to shoot for 50. I'm going to be happy with 40. Hell, I'm going to be happy with 30. But that is my end game and the thing that I have on my mind for this race. All right, so as I get prepared for this race in under, less than 14 days, I have to consider my nutrition. So nutrition is an important part of a runner's well-being, and when planning to run, I'm going to be having to consider like replenishing all the many calories that I burn at one time, and also my hydration. So the plan is, on the Thursday night before, the race starts on Saturday. Thursday night I increase my electrolytes and I increase my carbs. And then Friday night, same thing. Saturday, during the run, I have to eat things like carbs and protein in order to replenish the things that give me the energy. Protein is meant to satiate and to satisfy me when I get hungry, and the carbs is turned into energy. So I'm going to be packing things like turkey sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly because they're easy to digest, pretzels for the carbs, for the salt. These are things that I'll pack, jerky, nuts, And then the race venue will have lots of great things to offer also. They'll have hydration, they'll have Gatorade, they'll have all kinds of stuff for that too. I always love to drink coffee when I'm running. That's probably a bad thing because it's caffeine, it's diuretics, I'll have to use the bathroom, but hey, it works for me, so I know that that's something that I can stomach. Things you want to stay away from are things like the dairy, and I do eat goos. I eat Huma gels, and I stay away from other brands because they're rough. They don't sit right with me. But I reserve those really for the road races. Since I'll be able to take breaks on this one, I look forward to eating like real food, because the action of eating, believe it or not, is really satisfying when you're burning calories for long periods of time. So nutrition and hydration are super important on this day, and even into Sunday when I'm recovering. So I'll be sure to drink a lot of water on the next day. Now, another thing that I'll have to consider packing, and I will be packing, is extra clothing, because the race starts at 10 a.m. and it's supposed to be warm. It's supposed to be in the 80s. So I am going to be getting rid of as much hydration as I put in. And that can get really uncomfortable when you're wearing the same clothes all day long. An extra pair of clothing, like just changing shoes, changing socks, changing everything, is really refreshing after a few hours. So I'll be packing extra things, extra clothing. Now, this race is the day after graduation. So I have to work graduation. So as soon as I get home, I'll be booking at home to start packing all this stuff. I'm probably going to take a tent. I may take an air mattress, maybe for a break, a table to lay out all my food, and some shade, and just things to be comfortable. Definitely a chair, so that when I get done with a lap or two, I can take a break, eat my food, drink my coffee, and be ready for the next lap. I'll be taking video, of course, of the course along the way, and just give you a glimpse of what it looks like. And I'm even considering going live and doing a YouTube live. If that's something that interests you, give me a comment, like and subscribe to my channel, and I'm going to give you an update on my finish. So come back, check and see if I hit my goal. I'll be posting the update about the race on June 5th, and I can't wait to let you know. And now that I know that there are going to be people who are tuning in and checking to see if I can actually hit my goal, I'll be even more motivated to make sure that it happens. So that's the story of Black Mountain Monster, and I will leave the link to the race in the video description, so that in case you want to check this out for yourself. I'm sure there's still time to register if you want to get in on it. Stay hydrated, get plenty of sleep, and I'll see you out on the trail.
She will.